Hey, Selina here, and in this video I want to show you how to leverage your Google Drive, especially if you have a team, so that you can keep it organized. You can still find the folders and they have access to everything that they need. So first of all, the question I get asked all the time is, what should I title my folders? How many folders do I need? It really depends on your business setup, the industry you are in, and like the services you provide. So think of it as like your filing cabinet in your office. You have different drawers depending on what the category or subject is within the files and the folders that are there. So what I do is I break it down within departments of the business. That's how I like to start it. So think about your business overview. You probably have like a marketing area, operations, finance, HR, legal, and admin. So this is a great place to start with these 6 folders. I definitely wouldn't on the dashboard of your Google Drive have 10 folders or 20 folders, because it's just too overwhelming. You want to keep it as simple as possible so that then you drill down into the subfolders to find anything specific. You want to make it so easy that your 5-year-old could find something. So it's very important that you label these folders, but also that you start to make sure as you create new files that you file them in the correct place. So there shouldn't be any, on this dashboard here, there shouldn't be any files below this number 6 folder. It should all be filed away and organized so that if someone new comes into your business, they can, over time, be able to find things quite easily without having to ask you, where's this file? Where do I go to get access to this? And then, so that brings me on to the folders. So we have the marketing. So within marketing, I've then drilled it down to branding, content, PR, SEO, social media, and website. You could also add into here image library, anything to do with content, copywriting that you could be involving in these areas. What's key is just try to cluster together all the related terms that would happen, the operations that would happen within the marketing. So you can see here, I haven't created on the main dashboard an SEO folder because it's all SEO goes within marketing. And then I have an operations folder, which goes into about client details, any courses that, any services that you offer could go within the operations. And then you'd break down within that, more information would go within all the information related to that course, all the data, the files would then go into those subfolders. And then within finance, you have software, I've put in there tax, there's multiple things, bank statements, forms that you've had to complete, any VAT, assessments, anything like that, registration would go into here. And then HR could look like your bonus scheme, your company policies, the hiring of contracts and things like that, and then training. And then in legal, I've put in contracts, disputes, insurance and licensing. There's many more, but just start with those as your basics. You will also learn that over time you'll start adding more folders, but please add them to the subfolders, not adding any more to this. So try and keep it to 6, as I said. And then with admin, you can just go and add lots within this. This could be, I like to use admin for my research and development. So if I'm learning any new software, right now I'm doing some training on LinkedIn. So I'll create a file specifically for LinkedIn in a Google Doc, and then I'm just adding in the keynotes within that document. So it's easy for me to go back at a later stage and find it without having to go on my phone, notes, or somewhere else where I could have put it. Just keep everything in one central place. So what I'm trying to say here is avoid having a Google Drive and then a Dropbox folder, and then you've got things on your desktop and in other places. Just have one central place where everything is housed. And then this brings me on to when you have team members. It's really key as well that I've learned when having multiple team members that all files are created within this area, within my username, because what could happen is if you have a team member, John comes into the business as your social media person, and he has john@selinajohnson.com email address. And then John creates in his Google Drive a lot of documentation. What happens is that he then becomes the owner of that documentation, and I would just become a user, sub-user to access it. Whereas if it's all created within the domain drive, which is this one, and then we give John access to what he needs, that's the best way to do it, because if John leaves the business and then you remove that folder, remove that user from Google Drive, it just gets a bit messy with access and rights. It's just so much more succinct just to have one access to everything. So, for example, if you were going to hire John now, does he need just access to the marketing? So you could just press share and he would get access to everything within marketing. But maybe you're just hiring a copywriter and all they need access is to the content folder, so which would have your copywriting and your image library. Then you would just share access here with that button here. The same with your accountant. They probably need access to your bank statements and certain things to help with anything that happens throughout the year when they're helping you with your accounts. You could just give them access to specifically that finance folder. They don't need to know about your marketing and operations. Or you could just give them specific, if you had a bank statement folder, you could just give them access to that. Somebody like your executive assistant, I would advise that have access to everything, and someone like your project manager would probably need access to everything, because they're going to be working with multiple different projects, multiple different people. They would need to dip and dive into different folders, and what you don't want is their timeline being held back because they haven't got access to something, or they're doubling up and duplicating stuff because it's already there but they weren't aware of it. Also, your executive assistant is really useful to have, because if your folder doesn't quite look like this, they can actually organize it and group things in the correct category as part of their role anyway. So that's the advice I would give you. And then the other thing that I like to look at as well is then you can use this priority overview here, which looks like this. And then you could highlight within the priority category your main go-to files. If you're anything like me, I'm always dipping into specific folders on a regular basis. So you can have those on your dashboard under priority so that you can access them quickly, or you can add them to your favorites within your Chrome extension. But I quite like this outline here. So you can also, with these folders, change the color of them as well. So you can organize them by color if that helps to be more specific with how you access those folders. It's up to you if that helps, and you can then change the view to like this, but I quite like it in the list form. So hopefully that's been useful for you to know how to utilize your team to access the correct folders and how I organize them within my business. Just one extra bonus is you can also create an SOP for this. We use Google Docs, and then you can outline in the Google Docs, okay, under marketing, these are the subfolders, and you can just do like a sub bullet point going down, outlining these are the folders within this, and then within 2 operations, these are the folders. So you've got on one sheet an overview of all the different files and the subfolders, so that as the business grows, your team can quickly see and access the folders, but also as you add and remove folders, it's clear from one area where those folders are and what that looks like, especially if you're onboarding new team members. That's really useful for them to see as well, so they can just see from a full bird's eye view where the files are stored and kept. So follow me for more tips and comment below if you have any questions on today's training.